World, another day, another video. I'm Jesse, that's Paul, and we're talking about Phoenix today as we slowly grind through all of 20 festivals. Paul, how you feeling?
I am, I'm a little down. I'm feeling a little dyspeptic. Perhaps if I drink this delicious Coca-Cola Zero,
How many calories in that?
ah, 0 calories. How delicious. Coke Zero, because Mountain Dew sucks. Yep.
Well, way
There
to
goes that
alienate
sponsor.
Mountain Dew
I'm
sucks.
knocking him down, man.
Way to
That's
alienate
right.
our entire fan base.
That's Boo Mountain Dew.
I just
Boo
wonder,
Mountain Dew.
so
I
calories
I'm the
represent.
guy, by the way, that like goes to McDonald's and gets like the Big Mac with the extra sauce and the large French fry, and then gets upset that they don't have Coke Zero because I don't want Coke with calories in it. But I won't drink Diet Coke. That has aspartame and it's bad for you.
So Coke Zero has 0 calories. A calorie, if I
Logical
recall from
consistency.
my chemistry class, is like a unit of energy. And like in
Correct.
theory, everything that we consume has calories. I want to know what's in there if it's not calories. Like
It's just water.
that's right. It's
It's
just it's good
water.
for you. It's water. It's healthy. Let's talk
It's
about. I
water.
can't do
That's it.
this. I can't have flavored poison water, sugar flavored poison water conversations. All right,
And we're off the rails. Okay, record time.
record time. The Majestic Temple of the Phoenix. So, in a couple of these other vids, we sort of raced through the stronghold. I think we're gonna have a little bit more to say about this one because it's totally different. And on the face of it, it looks pretty bonkers. I think there's a little bit more than meets the eye here, just because the
Yep.
strength of this stronghold revolves entirely around getting guys to be dead. And we're not, there's no Ho-Ho-Huar, Shishakaho, the dude that can eat them. There's
Yep.
no Seppuku rule. There's no good limited phase way. Like, there's wheels within wheels. It's three guys. Um, so I guess like but that's not enough. You know, you need like a recursive way to kill a guy every single turn so that you can buy a guy every single turn and gain your one honor and get your guy on the cheap. And
Yep.
I don't know what that's going to be. Do you have any thoughts?
Right. So it's really interesting. I want to make some like Comet Phoenix jokes, but I'm gonna resist. I'm gonna just take the high road. So when I first saw this stronghold, I thought it was insane, but that's because I don't understand how the rules of the game work, and I thought that by proclaiming with the Majestic Temple of the Phoenix, I could then like proclaim twice and gain an extra honor. Turns out it doesn't work that way. So
It
we
sort of
caught a
it sort of
break
seems
there.
like the first reading of the card clearly seems like if you proclaimed a guy
You
already
may
this
proclaim.
turn and then you do it with the
Right.
box by the text of the box, you can proclaim him.
Right.
But I
But
assume they've
I've been
issued like
told
a
that it doesn't
clarification.
work. Yeah, I've been told that doesn't work that way, based on reasons. And
Which is
that's
fine.
Alpha
I see
Evolve.
what they're saying. I see what they're trying to
Yeah.
do here. I just thought that you could always proclaim guys that come from zones that are not provinces.
No, they got rid of that at some point in one of the arcs because it's simpler for people. Okay, so anyway, let's focus. Let's not devolve into
Come on.
a
Okay, yeah,
changing
no cards.
rules,
So okay, right. So
zigzagging.
what do you take my points? My point about the card is guys got to be dead to get the benefit of the
Right.
card.
So you gotta earn it with this. So that you can earn it through just like defending chump block. I stand my guy in the way, I play my actions, and then I sit there and hopefully between his force and the action I've played and the province strength, it bounces off, and then I rebuy my guy for my honor deck. That I think is sort of level one. The level two that I've been really interested in that I've been exploring a lot is Kosai Sensei, where I'm just blowing up my guys and rebuying
Okay.
them for value and just
Yep.
sort of whittling down. So
There
those
it
are the
is.
two immediate venues for the deck. And I think they're both serious. I think that Honor is very well positioned in 20 festivals. I think Crane are probably at the front of that pack because
I
of their stronghold.
agree.
But I think this provides a really interesting counterweight, especially like you mentioned that wheels within interaction because Crane have the one non-unique 4 pH guy. So blowing them up, rebuying them 7 pH or 5 pH for 5 honor for 7 gold is great. So this is a really powerful stronghold. The flavor just oozes out of it. And so I've got nothing but positive things to say, though I loved the other Phoenix Stronghold and Ivory edition, so I'm a little sad to see that go. But I think this is a Stronghold that does something really interesting, and it does something that's not entirely unprecedented. Phoenix have had boxes similar to and like this, and they've been pretty good. So
Yeah,
I think Phoenix will be happy with this as their stronghold,
I think this
because it's
box.
gonna, people die and you bring them back, and family library is good for discards but not for dead, and it's nice to be able to get your dead guys back.
This box reminds me of the Diamond edition, the Diamond era box that lets you put your dead guys back in the provinces.
Sure. Yep. Exactly. So
Yeah, pretty much the same box, except for
there
that
was
one little one honor tick
like
pointed out.
I think it was Brilliant Rebirth Temple, but don't quote me on
Something.
it.
Anyway, yeah, this
Brilliant
is
Rebirth.
awesome
Yeah.
box. Lots of interactions. Kosai was the piece I was missing. I think that's an awesome
Yep.
interaction, and that's going to get a lot of mileage. So let's dive into the dudes here, and we're going to start with our generic Shugenja. This is excellent numbers: 3 pH, 3 force, 4 chi. The 3 force is nothing. It's nothing to sneeze at. At all for 6 gold. This guy goes straight into the Kosai deck. It'll probably see a bit of play in the honored builds because it's cheap. It's got 3 pH, and those decks are always looking for a little bit of force to win the battles after they bow everything out.
Played it a lot in Celestial. Now, obviously, the cost mechanics have changed, so I don't get it. For 4 gold, I have to pay the full 6 now. But 3 pH means that you're comfortable doing that in your honor deck. The numbers are right. And one of the stars, or one of the things that was really relevant when I played her the last time around, when she came out in like Path of the Destroyer or whatever it was, is that this is a Shugenja that has 2 keywords for both air and fire. And that doesn't come up a lot, but you need fire for Kosai Sensei. You need air for Ward of Air. So this is there's a lot of flexibility to this. Good numbers, multiple keywords. It's going to be a staple card and not a filler card. It's going to be a card that's doing work and value for you. This is a great card to put your Final Ruin on. A Final Ruin and Ward of Air on this singular unit let you go, defend, kill something, run away. That's all good. Once upon a time, Alchemist mattered too, but I don't think that's coming back. So just a really solid, straightforward card. And Phoenix needs some number of these kinds of good, just force cards to make their military decks threatening in any way, because you're competing in a format where 3 force for 4 gold is the default standard, and Phoenix is never going to have a whole mishmash of those. So when their Shugenjas cost more, they need to also bring some relevant stuff to the table, and she does.
For sure. Yeah, this guy is not like personalities like 18 through 21. This is like 10 through 12.
Yep.
All right, popping on Agasha Tamiko. I remember this art. I don't remember putting it into a deck ever.
I don't think so. So I remember this card, and this is back from, gosh darn it, I can't remember when. It was pre change of borders, right?
Must have been a
So
bonus card that, if I remember it.
yeah, I mean it was, well, Samurai, it could have been Samurai. I think it was. It might even predate that, but so anyway. But I remember with the old border, so I know it was from back. And it was 8 gold at the time, and it's still 8 gold, and 8 gold is an awful lot for those numbers. And the water interrupt is interesting. So when this card came out, you didn't yet have like City of Tears, which would let you equip and take a follow-up. And you never got to play with this card in the Emperor Edition rule set, where you could just like straight equip, and then this would give you. So to get mileage out of her, I mean, she's built for the sensei, right? She's a water Shugenja, and the sensei lets you attach your water spell, or let you attach the spells as a battle action when they're opposed, and then you interrupt and take the follow up, and that seems neat and powerful and good. But I can't ever just justify playing this personality. It's just not. You're not bringing enough to the table for my taste. You're just too overcosted, right?
Yeah. Well, I want to. You can't say. I would say like throw up some finger quotes here on some words you use, like neat, and powerful and good. Um,
Well,
Mostly because, like, what are
so
you throwing on her? Like, you got a water spell, you toss it down. Like, we're not throwing down Strength of the Tsunami. We're throwing down, like, Impassable
impassable
Waters.
waters
Like,
is the thing.
so, I mean, that's just not.
Typhoon Surge is a water spell. There might be a water spell that doesn't really. I mean, let me rephrase it. There's there's a situation or a subclass of cards that could make me want to play this personality for the interaction. But right now, those cards don't currently exist, and her numbers aren't good enough.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, this is an 8 gold personality, and we just looked at a 6 gold personality with the exact same stat line and with an extra point of pH
yep.
and no ability. You've got to give me
And
a really good spell.
the only
stuff.
real
Like,
difference, by the way, is the keyword, right? The only real difference is like the water one's just more because since
I like if we were throwing down torrential rain and casting that, then maybe you could get
yeah.
me. But you got to really sell me for paying. We're playing an 8 gold personality. This personality does not do that.
So I guess it's more because they think School of Wizardry is going to happen. Maybe that's why the cost is
Stop
increased.
trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah, that's right. People are going to play a lot. School of Wizards is a real card, man. That thing's on now. I forgot.
We can talk about it in the holding review. Let's move on to
Oh,
Asako Hiribe.
Aribi.
This card makes me sad because it reminds me of the Inquisitor we played in the Birdie deck last arc.
Yeah, that's about it, right? I don't know what to make of the Inquisitor theme because there's not much happening right now. Giving someone Shadowlands has no interaction, right? Except
The
for
Daimyo.
this thing here.
Yeah,
Well,
the
this
next
guy
card we
here,
look
like if
at.
they have Shadowlands, they get -2/4. So like this is, I think, the one card
Yeah,
that's the pay.
there's a unique
Just,
too. There's the Asako Daimyo that carry bows a Shadowlands guy and all your shugs get plus 1 force. But yeah, the point is taken. The point is well taken.
so this guy is in your deck because he's 3 PH for 6 gold. And he's a Shugenja.
He's 4 chi. Yeah, he's 4
Yep.
chi. He's 6 gold, 3 PH. If
You
got
might
2,
see
you can
Phoenix
give a guy
Reach
-2
for
force.
dueling stuff, right? Like they have enough 4G guys. They get to play in the dual pool as well as anybody else this set. So this guy's going to see play based on his PH to gold with Chi. You can use that Earth open and give people Shadowlands, and then if you have a second one, you can give him the force penalty. But he's just there. He's just there as an honor personality, and that's fine.
The templating on this is so bizarre. It doesn't give them Shadowlands. It makes them Shadowlands while you are taking action.
Something, yeah. Is that
I don't even know. So good numbers, weird ability. That's all good. Let's pop on to Asako Misora here. I remember him. This is one of
from
our
Aftermath. Yeah. Pretty much never played. Might see a little bit more play now because I think there's a little bit more to do with the Earth. But for the most part, the reasons you would play this guy are the same. Cheap gold cost for good pH, good chi. And this one's expendable, and it's fun to buy expendable guys and watch them die and then rebuy them and watch them die again. That's fun. But there's not a lot of great blow up your guy Earth spell stuff happening.
Right.
If he was a courtier, but again, another 4G guy for the defensive dueling honor deck if you're looking for that in Phoenix, and you can be because you've got a bunch of 4G guys and magistrates and things, but pretty uninspired. And to me, this guy is, he's a quick one to be cut. He's a guy that ends up in an honor deck and just like get out of here.
I mentioned the one guy's like your 10th through 12th personality. Like this guy's gonna be your like 19,
he's 20.
22.
Yeah,
he's like in the 20s.
He's right at the end. He's
the last one in and first one out. His inclusion in a deck will revolve entirely around what other options exist. Like if you get to the bottom of the barrel, like here's what you got. The interaction with the box is sort of interesting. Makes me want to build a deck around the like Chudoruri spell and the Kokujin Monk that eat your guys and give you force, and then buy back my expendable guys.
Yeah, and that's all kind of neat interaction stuff that the box facilitates. The Maho spell specifically is just really fun. Like I blow up my guy, I gain the thing, and come on back. And that guy bows to the Wrath of Osana Woe for 4. Like defend Wrath of Osana Woe. now they bounce, kill my guy, rebuy my guy, gain the honor
Yeah,
again, gain a card.
yeah, or just
That's
wrath
all
into
good. He can blow
redirecting.
up to he'll blow up to redirect and rage like it's
Yeah,
nobody's business. Like he's a good solid card and he's unexciting and he wasn't good enough before, but I think he'll find a space now because I think honor is getting turned on a little bit.
all right. All right, and here's Asako Sunefuna. This was the personality I was just talking about when we were referencing what matters about Shadowlands.
Yeah.
This is a really boring card, I think, is my
I
first take on it.
I'm really disappointed. It's like it's a 9 gold cost Shugenja and the numbers are crappy and it's got the above starting Honorek. And so then it's all mediocre. So then I go to the battle ability. I read the card, I look at the numbers first just to sort of get a sense of where I'm supposed to be because that's where I derive my expectations from. So I just look at the numbers. I look at the force, the chi, the gold cost, the honor X, the pH. I break that down first, and then I get into keywords and battles and things. And I get to it, and I'm like, oh, it's a bow effect.
Yeah. Yep, there's just the payoff just isn't there, right? You expect
Really dull, just really boring and not any good. I don't know what deck I mean, there's nothing there for me.
all right. Not a lot to say there. They really we talk about this every single set, and they really just have not figured out how to do above starting honor X.
Yeah, I think they're getting close, and I think this personality fits about right. They
Well,
don't want it right, so it's any sort of any one guy pretty much for
this
Phoenix.
is a pretty pushed ability.
Yep.
Open bar. So this is like our Murasame Mura in Phoenix. We can sort of buy up any of our guys that we discarded early. This is going to give them great Dynasty side consistency. She's 3 PH for 4 gold. Her stats are pretty garbage, but we don't even care about that.
I think she'll be 3 copies, honestly. I think that the
absolutely.
ability has such value that you're going to play 3 copies and you'll just say, look, this is the one personality in the deck with above starting honor. Maybe you can get away with 2 because I don't know how early you need it. But, yeah, I mean, she's really powerful. And I think the 8 honor...
And the great thing about running 3 is you don't even care. You just flush the first one you see, and then the second one buys it back, and you gain your 3 anyway.
Yeah, and so, I think the above the honor rack is sort of the acknowledgement that hey, this card's really good at this point. Well, how can we make it less sort of insane good? Okay, we'll give it this sort of minimal drawback, and it is very minimal, and it's not going to keep anybody off from playing the card. But every now and then, it might throw things, muck up the works.
Yeah, the question...
Good personality, good numbers, works with the box the way you want it to. People like consistency, and she's consistent.
Yeah, my only question with this card is whether or not it'll get shoehorned into non-honor builds with decks just for that extra Dynasty side consistency.
I think I'm going to probably play her at first until I've got a full view of the options. It's hard to see her in a military deck because you have to get so many bodies to get the force out to threaten the provinces. But the way the spells are, I don't know, maybe.
Maybe. It's a question of whether or not you can get value out of her ability every single turn. I'm not convinced that's the case.
Yeah, no, you probably can't. You have to have flushed, some number. I guess it depends on how your opening flips develop. So
flushing guys into the bin also a little bit dangerous with victory through deference all over the place.
You're always going to be in the market though for honor decks for a 4 gold cost guy with 3 PH that does something.
Of course. In honor, she's an auto include. There's just not that much to say there. I'm just curious if that ability is powerful enough to be included in like a military version.
Yeah, and I think it depends on my military decks right now are all looking at 6 minimal unaligned Shugenja. I'm playing Bat Clan to Straighten and Dragonfly Clan guy with the naval.
Mm-hmm.
So she's less good for me there because she's only getting Phoenix Clan personalities. So for me, she's kind of on the outs.
Sure.
But I do think that, yeah, I mean, and if the right, maybe there's a deck that runs a lot of gold and runs a little lighter on personalities and does more of these like single big tower units or something. She's in that.
I got it. All right, so Goju Goju Saito, the Spider Clan invest guy that makes a melee 5.
Align him to your
Okay,
thing.
so I'm gonna Genpuku him. I'm gonna Genpuku
Okay.
him to be a Shugenja. All right, and then I'm
And
gonna
then
align him to Phoenix, and then I'm going to play School of Wizardry so that I can keep buying him back, even though he'll be like an invest 95 gold, and then I'll make a
how
range
do
5
you
every single turn.
now all we need is a way to consistently blow him up, and we have ourselves a deck.
And we have ourselves a deck, right? And we'll play
Yep.
like the Maho spell and stuff. I'm building this deck. I'm building
Uh,
it.
it's so not better than my ninja scorpion guy, the loyal unique scorpion guy who gives up -1/-1 poison tokens, copied 3 times by ninja shapeshifter every turn. My dirt will kill all the guys deck is so much better than your dirt will kill all the guys
I
deck.
don't know, man,
It's on,
because
baby.
I can eventually
It's
kill
on.
3 guys a turn. It's on. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Okay, so let us move forward with our card by card review, and while people sort of wonder what the hell we're talking about because we're
I
degenerates who want to do really weird
I
things.
laid it out. Isua Haruge. Um,
Uh, yep.
this is just these bow effects. I get it. I get that
So
sort of what they're going
she's
with.
really good and was really good. She's one of the few cards. It's like so they kept her at the 7 gold point. But I actually think that I think this is a good card. I think that this is a card where it's like you will bow her and then bow one of her spells to straighten her and then bow a guy and you will turn some random spell into bow someone, and I think that's good. Turning you play a Stones of Purity on her, you get the Stones benefit, and then instead of bowing for the Fear 3, you bow it to bow any personality independent of their size. Like that's good. This is a good card.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a non-unique. It's 7 gold.
Yep.
I I feel like spells do things these days. Like you're not running, except for Guidance in War. You're not playing. Like she's not going to be holding something like a Look into the Soul or like a Past and Future that you can like use in battle because you've got some extra stuff laying around.
No, but you use your Kyothi's Rash to bow them, and then you straighten your Kyoshi's Wrath with your Shrine to Mahachiman. You can't use the ability again, and then you bow it to her effect to bow somebody else.
Okay.
That's a pretty straightforward
No,
way.
that's
That
okay.
you know,
That's fair.
one
And
spell bowing 2
okay, okay,
cards, like
okay, okay,
that seems
okay.
fine to me.
You're right. This is a fine card. I guess I was sort of turned off. I mean, this is much better than the fear stuff. They're slapping all over like spider and
Absolutely,
crab and
get
lion.
sewer
So
attachments. Yep.
like Phoenix are definitely coming ahead in this way. And a card like this is a great illustration of the difference between Battle Bawa Guy and Battle Fear 1 million. He's like those aren't the same. Like and this card is much
Yeah.
much better than that. So yeah, play this guy. My snap decision was wrong. Let's pump on to Isua Ikiyara. This guy's like Isua
Like
Nanbo.
why? So didn't play it before, won't play it now. I think maybe people played it with Wizardy crap because 4/4 was okay for holding.
Well,
Reserve is whatever. You can't. You like when you reserve her out, it doesn't have any value. You're not playing it in Kiyosei Sensei. It's just a card for you really want to play your School of Wizardry deck. And I kind of hate this card because I really want to see cool, fun 9 gold cost Genja that are interesting and do things. And maybe they're letting fear of School of Wizardry decks sort of keep them down. But this just card is just so unexciting and so depressing.
in
And
their
that fire
minds,
battle
to
just
me, that this card is 9 gold because it's a no bow ranged attack. That like it'll only ever be a range 3 or 4, but it's still a no bow ranged attack. And like if he's holding like a Steal the Candle's
yeah,
Flame and like a Final Ruin and like a Burning Spirit,
yep,
then
yep,
suddenly we're
yep.
talking about like a range 5 no bow. It's not nothing.
Okay, well, have fun with yourself. 'Cause I think that guy's just too expensive and really depressing.
I don't think. I mean, I agree with you. It is too expensive. It is really depressing, and I hate the reserve stat on him because he comes out and does absolutely nothing except stand there.
Right. He's not a guy that you want to just reserve into battle. You reserve him into battle, and you're like, well, now what? I mean, the numbers are still okay, I guess. 4/4 for 9 is just that's what a 4/4 costs now.
Is
But
it? That's not.
ugh,
That's a little
ugh,
depressing.
ugh.
Let's move
Just
on.
very underwhelming.
Let's talk
I
about
don't think you're gonna see that. I don't think that card's gonna see play anywhere except for Fringe School of Wisdom.
table 27, man.
Yep.
Let's talk about Izuwa Kagehara.
Hey, Mizuhiko. I loved Mizuhiko. I loved Mizuhiko. I loved Mizuhiko in every format. I played Mizuhiko in Legacy. I still can, thankfully, because this is a solo. They could have really ruined that for me, but paying for any gold cost, that's no fun. Not as good because 3 gold's not 1 gold, but cheap naval Shugenja is cheap naval Shugenja.
Yeah,
No cool overlay.
This guy's just
Cheap naval Shugenja.
Combo City. This is like Enlightenment, Phoenix Enlightenment, the card.
Yep.
I don't know.
There's something really interesting about Mizuhiko because you've never played, like, you never ended up playing Mizuhiko in like a fair, fun battle. Like, you always ended up playing him in these just ridiculous, insane decks. Like, whenever Mizuhiko showed up, it was causing trouble. It was doing something a little bonkers. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, this is not the kind of card.
It's one of the spikiest of spiky cards because it's just there for its like pure, raw, efficient cheapness.
Yeah, like I want a deck. I'm a deck that wants a guy on 1 and wants to load up and go to town. Like, what do you got for me?
Yep. I'm gonna like get this guy on turn 1 with a holding, attach, summon the undead champion, straighten this guy, attach the spell that gives my water guy +2 force and swing with 8 force. Or so, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's gonna be something. Like, we're gonna. This guy's gonna when he shows up, you're in for something a little unusual. Faradex, I don't think. Yeah, Faradex, I don't think ever bother.
Yeah, they have no interest.
You can't. What you think? Honor maybe just cheap guy.
No, I mean this is just a naval shard. I guess with the Dragonfly Clan guy in that loses a little bit of its edge. Like, he can still hold a spell and you can cast it. The problem is his stats are just so bleh that like he can't really hold a final ruin.
You can still do the Seeking the Way gimmick, right? That was a thing we did a bunch in like Emperor Edition or Samurai Edition, where it's like you put a Seeking the Way on him and you attack and you naval Seeking the Way and just send himself home.
Yeah.
Did you move him home and you need just for declared targeting, you just need to have a target attacking personality. So you target himself and then he moves himself home and you gain 2 honor.
Oh, I see.
So that was the thing. That's what like honor decks have been doing with him since time in memoriam, and that's still live. So you go, Mizuhiko. I love you. That's one of the few cards whose name it's going to be important for me to like not change. I'm not doing it. Mizuhiko forever.
You get a T-shirt made.
I feel a little bit about the same way for our next guy here, Izuwa Machiko. It's going to take me a long time to not just refer to it as Tanaka all the time. Yeah, because I played Tanaka and I love Tanaka, and I don't know if I still love Tanaka because not as good at 7, but probably good enough. Just having a good answer for send home effects on a card isn't bad.
Yeah, it's clearly...
not home though, not home. So the change to the way rules work. Less good, both because you don't have clan discount, but also it's not a home water battle, so you can't just move in.
Yeah,
it's not if you move on in, it's like so. Machiko here has to be at the battlefield to bring someone else in, so they just send Machiko home. Yeah.
Well, if you're playing some sort of a Death Star deck, whether you're gonna not target the Death Star.
And there's like move around stuff where like I assign here, but I'm cavalry, so they defend multiple, and I cav over here and move this other guy to there, and it's a fun, flexible card. I like flexible cards. I find them fun, and it creates some fun Sudoku puzzles that need to be solved. But I think it's at most a 2-off. I don't think I'd ever be running a playset.
Sure. Oh, there's a certain interaction. I mean, I think there's an interaction with your box. It's supposed to like you assign them here and here, and then you do the battle and bring them all in, and you get a bunch of force. You get a bunch of force.
Might be a way to get it into some Unicorn Shugenja decks where between Cavalry, the Stronghold, and that opposed movement effect, you can really start to just mess up their math. Like probably
It'd be like that
one, maybe
one-off
two.
Nori Kazu, whatever the crab guy was that sent people home
Yep,
in the last arc.
might be, but you got to be careful. Now you're paying, then you're looking at 9
9
gold
gold for
for
this
a 3.
effect. I'm not. Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
let's keep pumping along. Let's go on to our IFS art here. I really don't like these arts. There's a whole bunch of, I think, one for each clan. I think they're all just really ugly.
Yeah, they're all from Death at Coton, which is a set, and there was like a comic book, and then they made a comic book, and then they ripped out of the comic book just panels or parts of panels to make the art on the cards. And because you've never read Death at Coton, you don't recognize that, but
Right.
that's what it is.
Well, got it. This personality does not really do it for me.
So we're still seeing one throughput here, and the signal can't be any clearer. Is, hey, look at all these 3PH Phoenix guys.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I feel like this is just like they just did a search of we need 3PH Shugenja. Click, 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 click. Okay, here's one. In you go. She's more military, I think, just based on the nature of the way her force adjusts with the spell.
I was actually going to make the opposite commentary. That one problem I've always run into playing the bow everything sort of spell-based honor deck as it's existed in the last 2 arcs is that at the end of the battle you just don't have any force. It's with all these 2/3 and here she's a force. You give her a Sutengu's not Surge, Embrace, or something, or I can't think of the other one. There's a couple of those bow to bow sort of spells. You give her one and she defends. She bows somebody. She's 4 force.
With Earth Shugenja specifically, with some of the more force efficient Shugenja, there is a deck that's here's my Shugenja, and I just put my hand on the table, but spread out among different units, right? So, I've got 3 Shugenja, and Noriko here has a Servitors of Stone, and the guy over there has a Ward of Air, and the guy over here has a Final Ruin, and here's an Interrupting Void, and you just sort of get in there and sort of see where it's at. Mm-hmm. And those kinds of decks need their personalities to have enough raw force that they pose an intimidating threat. And Noriko is just to help smooth that out. Sure. I don't think this card is going to end up being played, but I can see how you would start with her in a deck list until eventually you find the card that actually fills the roles you need it to fill. Okay. But there's almost always be a better option. But I can see where they think this card lines up, and it's not terrible. It's not a card that I'll look at and be like, why are you playing this card? It's not going to ever really be good enough.
It depends what the province math ends up looking like. I mean, she's 6 force with the Burning Spirit. I guess my snap evaluation of this card was sort of but the more I think of it, the more I'm able to sell myself on it a little bit. 4 is a pretty big number in Phoenix. I mean, in just this edition period, so.
And there's any number. I mean, what's the spell? There's a spell that she can get for free. There's an Earth spell that Earth Shugenja get for free that gives all your Shugenja +1 force. You put that on her, and then she's 5 force, and good for her.
Good for her. Bad for you. Good for her. Isoa Uzuyumi. This is our other unique, and it's just another movement ability. Again,
but this one's a really good one, right? So it's naval, which isn't great, but it straightens so you can do some province mathy things. It's you split for 2, and they sent you home over there, and now naval move you in and stuff like that. And commander for when that eventually matters, which it has to. There's so many commanders. Well, there's 3 or 4 cards right now, but they have to have something in line for commanders because the keyword is just too much part of the set otherwise. So this is a unique that you'll play because it's good enough for naval Shugenja with 4 chi are good.
Yeah,
talking about that with this, and it's true for Phoenix where it's naval Final Ruin on a 4 chi guy is just good. So also gets free impassable waters for naval and so you'll play it as a compliment and it'll be good when it does its thing, but it's also kind of expensive and get a flush lot in the first couple of turns of the game.
For sure. Well, in their defense, it's only 8 gold. The other guy we looked at that was above starting honor rec was 9 and had a worse ability.
Yep.
So water is much better than earth in this set is sort of the moral of the story here.
Yep.
Shiba Danjiro. Not only they reused the name, they reused the name from a really memorable card that had 3 or 4 experience levels. That always grinds me a little bit.
Yeah, 100% with you, and a little bummed out. Now they kept the bow force part, right? Like that's a thing we've seen before. But I'd much rather my Jimbos just redirect things from my Shigenja.
Yep. Yep. So this guy much worse than his namesake. I think
Yep.
he's more expensive. His abilities a little worse. I don't know that. I can't think of a Phoenix deck that would be in the market for a bow for a range 2.
Right, so it would have to be some sort of weird, like all Yojimbo Phoenix Samurai military. I don't know why I say weird. Like that's a deck that we've seen before, but it's like some kind of Phoenix. Just here's my samurai. The one guy who gives out a force penalty, and some of the crappy duelists. I mean, you give it a weapon. I guess you burning spirit it up.
Yeah, I mean, you can Burning Spirit him up. You can Inspired Devotion him up to a pretty respectable force pretty quick, like really, really quick. So, okay, let's say I
Yeah.
bought him for a range 6 or 7. Then use Servitors of Stone him up. I guess, like, I see the deck sort of
Two
taking
two for
shape
five.
in my
No,
head.
I'm off. I'm never. You're off my bus, man. There's just better, more efficient, cheap. There's
Right. Like,
you
that's the
know.
final
I
question is,
can.
like, how big does a range attack
There's
need
a
to
there's
be?
an unaligned Ronin from the Coming Storm, right? The one peasant guy who's like zero force, 2 cheap, bows for a range 2 attack, who costs 2 gold. Like I can just play that guy. Get out of here, you five. Like
Well,
this
no,
guy
because
sucks.
you play him because you can get to be like a range 7.
I'm done with him. He's off my bus.
All right,
You
he's off
you
your
spend your
bus.
time pumping his
I'm
foot.
not
I
gonna spend
mean,
my
with
time
an
pumping his
item,
foot.
he's like okay, and there's a +2/+1 weapon that's like you make him 4, so he bows for 4, and then you bow the weapon to straighten him. But I don't know what deck he goes in, and that's not any good. And I'm not playing him. And get out of here.
All right, I mean, you play Demolisher all the time. It's an 8 gold weapon for 3 force. It makes him melee 5. I
Somebody,
feel like.
somebody's got to demolish. Somebody's got to wreck it like Ralph. Okay, gets
I'll tell you. I'll tell you a story about Wreck-It Ralph once we're off the video. Talk about Shiboi Kimoichi, 6 gold, 12 starting rec. Duelist has to do with duels. You lost me at. You lost
12
me
honor
at
rack.
12 on a rec.
Yep. So
Well, you
so
lost
you
me with the
know it's
Shiba
turn
family name.
it's it's turn 5. It's turn 5, and you're flipping your provinces, and finally you say to yourself, "Man, when I get my Shiba Kiyomichi, I'll be able to move one of my Shugenja to his battlefield." Like what? Like
I love the
what?
trait. My favorite part about this card is the
What?
trait because
Right, so that's why he has the high honor rec, because they were worried that like he would generate too much honor too quickly over
right.
the course of a
So you're
game.
Phoenix. You start at
I don't.
6, right? So you're
Yep.
getting 3 a turn. So you go turn 1 by gold, turn 2 by gold. Okay, so turn 3 gain 3, go to
Yep.
9. Turn 4 gain 3,
Turn
go to
right,
12. So earliest
now
you're
you're
playing this
now
guy on turn
now.
4 with another
Yeah.
guy, and then you're attacking on 5 to gain 1 honor. So on turn 5 he gives you 1 point of honor. How many more turns does an L5R game go? 2. Like
It's a,
these games go to 6 or 7 at the absolute maximum. So we're looking at 3 points of honor. It's just bizarre.
can we talk about what an honor requirement means? So is this guy just more picky in who he'll follow than Shiba Tsukimi, the champion of the Phoenix? Like Tsukimi's like, yeah, whatever, I'll follow this 10 honor guy over here. And you're like, yeah, whatever. And he's like, Misters are like, no, I do not. I have higher standards than you. Like, come on, man. Boo. I
I hear you.
just maybe someone. I mean, it's a duelist. There you go. Everybody loves duelists.
A 3 cheat duelist, of course. So this guy totally
I
missed
know
on
you
the.
are a fan of Shiba duelists. I know that is a deck type you long to experience. You want to see make an exciting resurgence.
Okay, I'm letting that one slide.
It's
Like we just talked about how they totally
no.
missed
Well,
on.
he's well, he's tilting quietly. I will move on to Chicago Sensei.
I just want no.
Um,
I want to say one more thing about this card is that he almost has the same honor requirement as the elemental dragons, and so like, what does that mean for him as a like whatever?
yep.
Just All right, Chicago says, I think this is a total miss.
Yeah, complete, just unplayable thing. I don't know if it's unplayable. People will try to play it, but I'm going to ignore the first sentence. I'm going to ignore the drawbacks and just look at what the payoff of the sensei gives you, right? So after your water card moves a personality, give your target water Shugenja +1 force. I will be generous and assume I get to trigger it twice in a battle.
Yep.
I have found battles are rarely decided by +2 force. Like, now I know everyone has that one battle where it came down to the 1 force or the 2 force, and oh man, if only I had this bonus, I would have been just like, But the overwhelming number of games are not decided based on 2 force swings, right? I think we're in agreement there. There's a reason nobody plays Banzai. And then you may equip water spells to your unbowed opposed Shugenja as a battle action. Now that is a trait. Like, we have seen the ability to attach spells as a battle be so good that they actually removed it from the rules. It was too much. It was too powerful. We had to take it back. We had to pull it out, We had to simplify the game.
A lot of air quotes today.
But first off, you're only equipping water spells, and that's a very small subset of spells, and only a few of them are worth playing. And it has to go to an unbowed, opposed Shugenja. And then you don't get the follow-up.
You don't get the follow-up.
So
that's the most important part.
It's just like, and so that's like, sure, that's relevant, but is it that much? I mean, it saves you some gold. You can like set your gold over here and be like, I'm going to use it for my dynasty. Oh, now I'll just use it during the battle. Like, you could have just attached it before you attacked. You're not saving that. It would have just economized. And then you add the drawback where it makes your non-water spells more expensive, and I'm just completely over it.
Right, you're telling me Final Ruin costs more? Like, pass. Hard pass.
So, I mean, I'll pay for Strength of the Fifth Ring. I'll do it. Like, I'm not, like, I'm okay with it. Like, I don't mind, but I'd rather not.
The meat of this card is the first, or I guess the second trait about the Force. This is the last thing about this spell is it feels tacked on. But you're right.
Yeah.
Especially given that all of the movement that we've seen. So we just looked at all of these guys, and there was a bunch of Water Shugenja they printed specifically to work with this. They all say opposed.
Sure.
And like these sorts of force bonuses are the kinds of things you want to generate some province crushing force to take one early. Like, I attack with my Shugs, and I do some bogus move myself home, gain a force, move myself in, gain a force, and then take the province.
Yep.
But you can't even do that because all of these abilities are all they're all opposed. They all want opposed.
And I think it's important to point out that it's not just like it could. If it was just after your water, like after personality moves, or maybe after a water personality moves, and then you could gain the bonus from cavalry. But after your water card moves a personality, it is a very specific thing too, right? So it's it's my water personality, it's my water spells. So it's not even you can't get it off of honed to the razor's edge. My water Shugenja back in doesn't even trigger the bonus, right? It's oh, it's an air spell moving in. And so that's just kind of yeah. I wonder if there's more water Kihos that will eventually
Master of the Rolling Waves or something.
Yeah, just some kind of something of that effect where it's a water Kiho. But
it's a great water Kiho? Boundless Depths of Water.
that was a good one. I played Balance in Water. It was pretty good. It harpooned their guys in, and you had to follow up.
Sure.
And that's about all.
Make accessible terrain a water.
Inspired Fair. We played Inspired Fair. We've played some water Kihos. I can't think of a single. Do water Kihos exist anymore? I don't think they do. I don't think.
I'd have to look.
I don't think Kihos have
elemental
traits. I know Hone to the Razor's Edge is not a water Kiho because I looked at it. Is there any, someone tell us, let us know in the comments if any Kiho have traits. Wrath of Osanawo, I bet, is a thunder. That's the only one that I can come up with. So
Let's see, water strategies. There's a surprising number of things came up if I put card text in water as a strategy. I don't know what happened
For
there.
like Ivory Arc.
Yeah.
Anyway, none of so that might make it a little better, but you can't get the bonus off back to the front.
No, there's nothing. So nothing. Okay, so yeah, I think this
Very restricted.
this
Very
guy's a total miss. Luckily, the fire
Not a
sensei is
near
not
miss.
going anywhere.
Right. And I don't know how I feel about this. What seems to be the trend of like, here's a sensei per element. Like we're gonna get eventually to an earth
I
one for
eagerly await
Phoenix.
the Void Sensei. It's just like whenever they do a cycle of elemental stuff, it's like fire, water. Like show me the void,
Healing Solve.
show me the void,
I don't love Healing Solve. Giant Growth is okay. Yeah, Dark Ritual. I like Dark Ritual.
Yeah, Dark
Ancestral
exactly.
Recall. That's a good one.
Recall. We can talk about that.
That's
Anyways, I think that's
one.
enough. We're sort of veering into Babel territory here. Let us know what you think of these guys. If you think Chukage Sensei has any real practical application, because we certainly don't. Let us know in the comments. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, website, enoughtalk.com. Until next time, I'm Jesse, and that is Paul. This has been Enough Talk.